Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
I'm
Lily.
Lily. Nice
You're Lily. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that before. Nice to meet you, Lily.
Lovely to meet you.
My name's Adam.
My name's Lily.
This is Helix, the Helix
Yep.
Show. Welcome to Helix, or more specifically, the Helix Show, which is our podcast element of Helix. There's so many other things that we want to do with our show. But for now, we have, the Helix Show, which is our little theme park podcast, all about theme parks.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just crazy because we've been talking about this for months, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it's like weird that we're here, actually.
It's a podcast for theme park lovers just like us to talk. There's so many incredible people out there who, are up night and day and walking around theme park perimeters and getting lovely bits of drone shots and breaking all of the news about theme parks, specifically here in the UK. So we'll leave them to it. There are some amazing creators out there who do that brilliantly already. But this is just a podcast that's more about discussion, isn't it? Is anything that we want to talk about, and more specifically what you want to talk about, and the things that you think are interesting in the world of theme parks.
Got our tea.
Yeah, we're here for a casual chat,
Yeah.
bit of tea.
Yeah, I got my fluffy socks
You
on.
got your fluffy socks on. We got a massive tea mugs. I've got my Soul Ride mug.
Mine is in no way theme park branded, and I'm definitely going to spill that, so I'm going to put it down now.
Yeah, it's bloody nice though.
So each episode, Adam and I are going to bring 2 topics of our choice. We're going to see how it goes. We might change up the amount, might do more, might do less. We're just going to see how much we yap.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to see where the conversation takes us. We don't have anything planned in advance. You have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I have no idea what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So it might be that we have the exact same topics, but I guess we'll find out.
But who wants to go first? Oh, actually, scrap that. This ain't going to be relevant at all to people who are listening on Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that, because I have a gift for you. Not for you. It's not yours. It's for the show.
It's not mine.
It's a birthday present to the show.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And I thought it'd be quite cool. So here it is. It's the box. Do you have any idea to what you think it's going to be?
No. Genuinely no idea.
Amazing.
This seems so set up, but
yeah, I know.
this is not.
This is
I
not set
genuinely
up.
have no
She
idea.
didn't know about this. But I had these made for us beforehand. So you can close your eyes if you want.
Okay.
I'm going to get it out of the box now.
I'm scared.
So hold out your hand. Don't freak out.
Oh.
No, just...
Okay.
All right, I shouldn't have said that.
As long as it's not a spider.
It's not a spider. You wait, and I'm gonna get mine.
Is it a light cover?
No. Ready?
A red nose. Yeah.
Have a look. Yeah, so I had these made a couple weeks ago because I kind of thought about the solution. We didn't want to spend £500, by the way, on mics, so we have these instead. But I thought this would kind of amp it up a bit.
This is amazing. I love it.
How sick are these? So Rode, don't, please sponsor us still.
We love you.
We love you, Rode.
We really do love you.
But we've got to get rid of these.
Yeah.
So hang on.
Bye.
Fling that over there. That's not needed anymore. Oh my god. You look a bit surprised.
So cool.
But yeah, so this is officially the Helix podcast now. Or the Helix show.
Because we have mic covers.
Because we have mic so this is legit now. This is real.
We're just so Helix coded now.
We're so Helix coded.
Helix doesn't even really exist yet because nothing's out, but we have everything Helix.
Yeah, so, this is great. So yeah, what do you think?
Even the we had to
the clip.
well.
Yeah, to show the clipboards. We are branded to shit. So there's no merch. You can't buy clipboards or mic covers, but they're for us.
The only time I've ever used a clipboard is when I do scarecrow trails in little villages in Wiltshire. So
when do you do that? Well, October presumably.
No, it's through the spring and summer. It's amazing. I've been doing it ever since I was a kid.
Hang on a sec. Well, before we just actually get into the topic, what's that?
Have you never done a scarecrow trail?
No, and I don't want you to act like that's a normal thing to do either. What do you mean? I've never heard of that.
It's amazing. A scarecrow trail is it happens in April, May, June kind of time, and it happens in little country villages. So it happens near me. It happens in Laycock or in Keevil, which you probably never heard of any of these places.
No,
but
no, I haven't actually.
It's basically just every year they put it on, and you have to go around and guess what these scarecrows are, and they'll be around a theme. So for example, it'll be films or history, and you've got to guess what the scarecrows are. But when I say scarecrows, don't think Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I'm thinking spooky season, October time.
No, it's nothing like that really. It doesn't even have to really be a person. It could be anything. It's just a model. It should just be a model trail, to be honest.
Okay.
But I thought this was a completely normal thing that people did in the South.
Oh, so it's something you've done since you were a kid, and
Yeah.
you just assume that it's normal.
Well, I grew up in Wiltshire. I was born in Wiltshire. I grew up in Wiltshire. I'm a Wiltshire lass.
Wiltshire
so,
lass.
Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah,
And you do that every year?
I do like 2 every year with my family.
That's mad.
Yeah, my sister does more. Shout out. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever used a clipboard. So
Well, there you go. Now you've got a second reason, so we got them here.
yeah, now you know something about me that you never needed to know.
All right, sound. So would you like to go first about your topic for this week?
Okay, so my first topic for this week is basically just in general the Universal Studios that's opening in
I knew it
Bedford.
would be about this.
Because I love Universal Studios, so this is going to be like my first topic that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sound.
So I didn't have anything specific. I just kind of wanted to chat about it and just think what kind of things you'd want to see there and what you think would be there.
Okay.
Because I was kind of like looking into, I was just basically researching like Universal films because I was like, it's so difficult to imagine a whole new park because I can't really remember a time where I've waited for a theme park to open. Because like, for example, when you have like Alton Towers or Thorpe Park, you're waiting for a ride. But when you have a whole park, that's going to be like, what, 10, 15, 20, 25 rides. Yeah. So it's like, what are these rides going to be? I'm just so curious of like what you think.
Well, I don't know, because, I'd have to look up the kind of films for Universal. And the other point being is that I've never actually been to Universal Studios in America. As a disclaimer, I'm making a theme park podcast, and I've never been to a theme park outside of this country. How awful is that? So I don't really deserve to be sat here, to be honest.
No, I don't think that. I think that's a pretty... You've been very close to going to one, haven't you?
I have been in Florida, and I have been in Germany, and I have been all the places of the parks where I'd really want to go to. I just,
Almost,
but not yet.
One day, Helix trip.
Well, it will happen.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Phantasialand is, like, on the top of my list. I really want to go there. But Universal, I mean, there's so many in America. There's Six Flags. That's obviously, like, a huge one in America. But, you have a bit of perspective on Universal. I don't really know what the theming of the park is like. I don't know what the rides are like. I retract my last statement. I've been to Disneyland Paris.
Oh, yeah, that's one I haven't been to. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never been.
Okay. That's split into two, because I went a very long time ago. I went when I was about 12 or 13. Yeah, they had one part and a completely other part. And one of them had all the Pixar stuff in, the Rock and Roll roller coaster, rest in peace, which I only found out about that shut down the other week when I was researching for this.
Yeah, I think, is that the one in Paris that shut?
Yeah. But but we had this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I googled the other one.
Yes.
And that's also
because I was in denial about this because I love that ride. I haven't been to Florida since 2016, so it's been quite a while. But I don't know if I've ever actually like given you
so much tea. It's ridiculous. Sorry.
I don't know if I've ever told you like this specific statistic. Have I ever told you how many times I've been to Florida?
No.
Have I not?
Well, I've been there once.
How many times would you say is like a normal amount?
I don't think there's any normal amount for going to America. If you live in the UK, that's an expensive trip. So, I don't know.
I've been to Florida 17 times.
What? 17?
Yeah.
Do you have family out there?
I did.
Okay.
So
because I was about to go like, that is insane.
So I haven't been since 2016. So that was when I was 14.
God, you packed them in then.
And so between the ages of being born and 6, I went twice a year. One of those years I went 3 times.
Why? That's too much, man.
It's not too much. When my family started going before I was born, they really enjoyed it. And so then I was born and I joined them on this holiday. And then my auntie and my uncle and cousins loved it so much that they decided to move out there. And then they lived there for like, I don't know a specific number, but it was definitely like over 10 years.
I'm so jealous.
Or about 10 years.
I will say that is mental. 3 times in a year is mental.
Yeah, well, that was only once.
Yeah, but it still happened.
It did still happen.
Not
that I really remember the times that I went before I was 6, but we have a lot of videos of it. But that's why
I went once, and it was for work.
Yeah, and you didn't even go to the theme park.
We had a day off on my job, and it was like, okay, great, we'll go to one of the theme parks, and we just weren't allowed. because it was, it would have been like a business expense. We couldn't make like time and so that work.
Yeah.
I was
mean,
heartbroken.
I don't see why that couldn't be a Disney expense. A ticket to.
I say heartbroken like I was a kid. I was. This was a year ago.
You honestly, I can't even imagine being within close proximity of either of any of those American.
We were
like,
a 20-minute drive.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah, so close.
I think I would have jumped out the car.
Oh God.
And ran.
Yeah.
And then figured out a way to get home.
Hitchhiked all the way there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, Universal. I've never been. You've been a ridiculous amount of times. What was the unique attributes of that park that kind of stood out to you and gives you a reason to be excited about this one? Because maybe a lot of the people listening have never even been to, like me, never been to a Universal Park. I don't know what makes it unique.
So, like, the main thing for me, and it just makes UK theme parks seem so depressing, is I feel like they put Universal and Disney put so much effort into everything outside of their rides, as well as obviously their rides. The pure example being Hyperia in Thorpe Park, right?
Sure.
So much money went into that, so much time went into that. It's like the UK's fastest and tallest coaster.
Yeah, it's great.
The queue line is the most depressing thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's awful. This was actually something I was going to talk to you about on another occasion, and this is why I said 2 topics an episode, because we're going to yap like
we
crazy.
are going to.
It's just going to. I remember like the 3D renders coming out for when the build-up was happening for Hyperia, and I saw like the beautiful like lake of water and the viewing platform and all of that, and that just didn't happen. No. Understandably, that's a massive expense. But it was a natural lake anyway, and I know you've done all the groundwork, and it was a mess. Like we went not so long after it opened, and I do feel for them because the actual event, from what I saw, looked amazing when they opened it, but the groundwork was horrible. It doesn't help with our UK weather either. It's not like you can, as a theme park, just buy a load of grass and expect it to be okay. That would be an insane amount of money, but also you're not going to fake it with like AstroTurf, are you? But I kind of expected more, when they said, oh, we're not going to do like the lake, that's not happening. Okay, great. So it's going to be a lot of like the forestation, all that kind of stuff. I put some trees in, you can't just paste the tree into the ground. I get it. But, and a lot of the stuff there is, it will grow, But for me, that's the same logic as, when your parents buy you school uniform that's too big, and it's like, you'll grow into it. It's like, yeah, I know, but right now it looks so bad.
Yeah.
And you kind of open it to the public, and no other ride is like that.
Yeah.
I said to you when it opened, like one of my favorite queue lines at Thorpe Park is Nemesis, because they went into so much detail with the queue line, and obviously like the greenery has grown over the years and it's adding to the kind of effect of it. But that's such a pretty queue line.
I feel like that also paired with like when the ride first opened in late May, wasn't it? And then through the whole of June and July, it just kept breaking down. And then which is really sad.
Yeah.
But it's like there was so much. I know there's not a lot you can do about it, but there was just so much built up around it. And it's like, it's this crazy record-breaking roller coaster. And then it was just, they had such a hard time with it. And I do feel really bad for them.
And the disclaimer is that the ride is amazing.
Exactly. That's
the ride
thing.
is incredible.
Because it had such high expectations. And I would give it such high expectations because it's such an amazing ride. Like, if these things came with, like, I love Nemesis. I love Colossus. But, like, if these little quirks came with those rides, you wouldn't think so much about it. But because it was such a groundbreaking ride, it's just quite sad. And it's not even like I'm annoyed at Thorpe Park because I can't be annoyed at them. No. But it's all kind of things that were somewhat out of their control. Because at the end of the day, all like the little details, it was just they were running out of time, surely.
Yeah.
Running out of time, running out of money.
I think Thorpe Park got, for what they achieved last year, considering let's not forget they refitted the entire park at the start of the year. You had like Samurai and a load of other rides get repainted, and the whole park got a huge facelift.
Which honestly has made such a massive difference.
Massive, right?
I think, yeah.
The new food outlets, and we stayed there last year in preparation and building Helix. It was like our birthplace of this. Most of the time we just spent walking around the park over the 2 days being like, that's so pretty. it's had a huge facelift, and they started it off so strong, and it was also like, guess what, a roller coaster's coming this year. So it was an amazing season, and I've never seen a park have more shit thrown at them
Yeah.
than Thorpe Park last year, because they had the rebrand, which disappointed pretty much everyone. And let's not pretend like the Thorpe Park logo beforehand was like the prettiest thing in the world. It was dated.
That's kind of where our name has come from anyway. Is somewhat the Thorpe Park logo, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have to include that in, but like,
yeah,
I feel like, it's just part of, like, I just like seeing the old Thorpe Park logo. I feel like brings back so many nostalgic memories for me, because I've been going to that park
I guarantee
for years.
you 90% of why people were upset is because it was a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Alton Towers logo, I think, from a graphic design point of view, is ugly.
Yeah.
Like
if it came out today, it's not a great logo.
You'd be like, that is very like early 2000s and a bit gothic, and that works for the park. And there will come a time, I think, where Alton Towers will say we need to modernise the graphic design and whatever. Maybe it'd be interesting to know what park you think needs a bit of a facelift. I've kind of grown to like that branding now, and we're merging off. But they got so much hate last year, and the last thing they needed, the poor team, after finally getting to the end of the hurdle, was people like us saying, "Oh, the grass looks muddy. The trees haven't grown yet. Where's the lake?" It's not on.
They're like, "Look, guys, this amazing roller coaster is right in front of your eyes," and we're like,
"Oh, but the grass is not green." It annoys me. It annoyed me seeing the comments, but I couldn't stand there and say like I didn't also feel like that. I just didn't want to complain about it. But
I think it's the kind of thing where it's like, we talk about it because it's like, I don't talk about it because I'm genuinely complaining about it. I'm talking about it because it's just quite
it's truth.
It is, yeah, but it would never affect like how much I want to go on the ride, or like I'm going to go. I am going to be in Thorpe Park multiple times every year, and it doesn't matter what they do, I will always be there. Yeah, cheers.
Banging.
I can't believe I finally found someone that enjoys 2 sugars in their tea like I do, because everyone constantly.
It is a treat. If I'm going through my normal day, I won't have 2 sugars. I'll have 1. Or actually, during the day I'll have none.
Oh.
But when I'm doing a show or I'm enjoying myself, it's got to be 2, man. You got to be adventurous.
Vodka in their tea. You just like 2 sugars.
You what? Vodka?
No, but I don't think people.
Have you seen people do that before?
No, but like, like some people would put alcohol in their tea in like like, for example, if they need energy or something, like they would put alcohol in their tea. You're just putting 2 sugars in, so I don't think that's too bad. I don't put vodka in my tea, just to clear that up. I used to put 3.5.
Oh, you gotta have some joy in your life.
Yeah.
3, I can't. I have a threshold, right? 2 is the threshold. 3 is mental.
Okay.
That becomes like Starbucks territory, where it's the equivalent of having like 13 in your tea. So Universal.
We're going to be here for hours.
I know.
So anyway, back on topic, Universal. So I was just I've written down like a list of films that I think there could be rides for. So Florida's park, or I should say Orlando, because it's Universal Studios Orlando, is 541 acres. The one in Bedford, which is the one in England, is going to be 476. Which is actually pretty massive.
Yeah,
I didn't expect it to be that big.
Well, I've seen the aerials of it, right? And they're going to have to build that whole, whether it's renovating or rebuilding it, that whole train station. But that's such huge infrastructural change. And we have had recent confirmation from the government that is definitely something that is going well. It's still speculative. By the time that this podcast comes out, they may have absolutely confirmed it. So we may be very much behind on this, hence why we're not on news show. I think it will all come down to how they theme it, because undoubtedly I think at least half the park, or 40% of it, is going to be wizard related, given the fact that it's the birthplace of Harry Potter, right?
Okay, interesting.
But it has to be.
Okay.
Right? Because
it just depends, because it's like they could go so many different like ways with it. I feel like the magic that Universal Studios in Orlando has specifically for me is the nostalgia part of it. It has so many different rides that aren't new rides. And funnily enough, when they actually bring new rides in, they normally get a lot of backlash, because it's older rides. Like it's E.T., it's The Mummy, Jaws, which sadly closed in 2012, RIP, which was
that I was upset about, because I really wanted to go on that ride and I never got the opportunity to.
It was a great ride. Bearing in mind I have a massive fear of sharks and a massive fear of animatronics.
Perfect for you then.
Terrifying. Like I I again closed in 2012, so I haven't been on it since I was 10. But great ride. I miss it deeply.
Yeah, I used to watch the onboards on YouTube. Like with every ride that I always dreamt of going on, I just continually as a kid watch them on YouTube, like the point of view videos. And do you know one thing about the Jaws ride specifically was all of the actors. That ties into another conversation that's kind of topical right now from some news coming out, but I'll leave that for another period of time. And just the love that should really go into actors in theme parks, and how right now, things are they're looking not great. The one thing that always shone about that ride for me was the actors on the boats and the performance that they put in every time. And they had to do that all day. Universal UK is a huge entity. They have a huge building in London. The actual studios here in the UK are massive, and that's growing because of the UK film industry, which is amazing, very exciting. And a lot of their films actually were filmed here in the UK. Like, for example, at the top of my head, I can think of Wicked was filmed here.
What was it? I didn't know that.
Oh, it was amazing. I have to show you the actual sets that they built for it. Some of the behind the scenes photos they released.
All of it was filmed here.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of the productions in the film industry are actually in the UK, and that's thanks to COVID. Is that a lot of the production moved to the UK? That was helped by Disney as well, because Disney opened all of their studios to do like Star Wars and all of that kind of stuff here in the UK. And it's still growing, which is great, and that's why the government should support it. The latest releases are massive. I'm personally looking forward to the flat ride being Bridget Jones' The Ride.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because apparently that's got to be a thing.
Yeah. So I've heard that there's gonna be a ride for all of those films. No, I know. I do get that.
Oh, I thought you were serious. That you would just go, oh, I read somewhere that there is going to be a Bridget Jones' The Ride.
Apparently my sarcasm is too real.
Okay, well, you've got me.
I need to stop rocking.
Jurassic Park?
This is what I've got on my list, because I'm
Right.
really interested to know what you think on this, because obviously in Florida specifically, you have the Jurassic World River Adventure, which I don't know if it's actually still called the River Adventure, because that was Jurassic Park, and then they've changed it to Jurassic World. But then you've also got Velocicoaster, which it hurts me that I have not been on that ride, because I cannot even explain to you how much I want to go on that ride.
Is that the launch coaster, or is it the wing coaster?
That's the launch one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about them because I haven't been on it. But yeah, it's the launch coaster. But one thing that's really cool, the launch is in like a tunnel, and they have screens, and on the screens it looks like velociraptors are running next to you. So it's like you're running at the same speed as the velociraptor, which is so cool. Like, I love that, and it's meant to be like a really smooth ride.
The Mummy is a big one. That was filmed here in the UK.
Really?
Yep. Harry Potter, obviously. Fast and Furious 6 was filmed here.
So that's kind of like a touchy subject, because there's a Fast and Furious ride in Universal Florida. It's not great, considering that it also went in place of such an iconic ride that was Earthquake, which was an amazing ride. Have you ever heard about that?
I've never heard of Earthquake, no.
So it was such a clever ride, and I feel like it was so ahead of its time. It was basically like you get onto this tram and you go through this movie set, and you have to act like you are part of the movie, and it records you on the ride.
Oh no, it's not a Black Mirror situation thing, is it?
What does that mean?
Oh, do you remember the Black Mirror ride at Thorpe Park?
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, what? It's not like no. I mean,
like
it was
going to record you and then put you.
No. It's not. It's not like that. It's kind of like it just things happen around you. Like, for example, you drive into like this. It closed so long ago. I'm trying to remember. I haven't been on it since I was so young. It almost looked a bit like a multi-story car park.
Right.
Whether it was that or not, I don't know. But basically things happened, like a lorry would fall down the ramp or something, and things would blow up, and there were floods, and you had to act like this was real, and you had to be like, oh, this is insane. And then it would record you,
God.
and then it would make it into like a trailer that you watched at the end.
Oh no.
Do you not think that sounds great? Right.
No,
I need to.
That sounds awful, man. Because anyone who isn't like willing to participate in that.
Well, then you don't go on the ride.
Oh, but I don't want to do that.
It's a bit like you wouldn't go on Oblivion if you don't like drops, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't go on Earthquake if you didn't want to be recorded. It's just kind of
Well, that's true. That's very true. But I just don't like the idea of a performative ride. Like, I want to be immersed in the theming and the storytelling and the actual like physicality of a ride, not be like, oh, by the way, you got to participate. I don't like that. And that's the one thing, the argument I always make with you. That's why I don't really like scare mazes. I don't like being a participant of rides.
Just to let you know, he will be going on scare mazes, and I forced him through them last year. There is no way that we will not be doing videos on Fright Nights. It's like, that's the thing that I'm the most passionate about.
Look, Fright Nights are the best event of the year. I just get very easily scared on scare mazes. And this lady right here is probably the world's biggest fan of anything horror related. So spooky season, that is your whole thing.
Can't wait.
You can't wait.
What is it, February? It's February, and I'm already waiting for like September, October. I can't wait.
Oh, my birthday's in October, so it's a bit different, isn't it?
That doesn't matter because we've got Fright Nights. I'm sorry, but your birthday is irrelevant because Fright Nights. I am joking. Like,
no, I know, but you're kind of serious, and I know I'm going to be dragged on. The worst one was that last one you took me on.
What, survival games?
Oh, I hated it.
Really?
Oh, I thought I was going to have a panic attack halfway through.
That was one of the weakest ones. To be fair, it was better.
The one where the guy chased you with a real chainsaw on the exit?
Yeah.
Where you got dragged in?
Yeah. Oh, they did drag us in, didn't they?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Did you?
They dragged you in.
They dragged me in, yeah. They
And you were laughing.
Yeah.
You were like, hey.
I was having the best time.
I was shaking. I was quaking in my boots. The whole experience was terrible. It was horrible.
Fabulous.
No, it wasn't. It was
survival games is like
I'm getting anxious thinking about it now. It was awful, dude.
I think the thing is I was pleasantly surprised by it because survival games was a maze in 2023 and it was pretty shocking. It wasn't great compared to the other ones. This year I was pleasantly surprised, and it was the last one we did as well. So we kind of had all of the other ones to compare it to.
Well, the thing is with scare mazes is that I don't like the idea that they're going to touch me.
Okay.
Because I don't know how I'm going to react if they jump me. I'm a very jumpy person, aren't I?
Yeah.
You know, so if
Easily.
if they jump me, I don't know. It's not like I think I'm going to be like Mike Tyson and start swinging. That's not what I'm worried about. It's just that I don't know how I'm going to react when I'm scared like that. And the whole experience, I mean, it was pitch black and we got dragged in. I just went, do you know what, forget it. I was almost at that point just ready to turn around, and they put us in the little cages, and then we got pushed through. And I tell you what was scary. We got separated, and I was like, that's fine. You know, I'll stick to the other people. The other people weren't interested in me. I was trying to be all like, oh, this is fun, isn't it? And the other people who were on the ride with us were just like leave me alone. Obviously, like, fair enough. And I was like, well, actually, I'm on my own now, so this is scary.
Yeah.
And then
that's the point.
No, but I couldn't find you. But the thing is, there's so many, like, because it's a maze, there's so many areas where it's literally pitch black. All you can hear around you is people screaming, and you don't know if something's going to be around the corner. And I remember specifically, there was this long corridor that was really wide, and it was so thick in smoke, I didn't know what was coming. I could only see the, like, bright strobe lights, and I genuinely thought I was going to, like, collapse. I was like, my heart was going. I was like, I don't know what's at the end of that. Am I going to sprint through it and go into a wall? Am I going to, like, walk and then someone's going to jump me? I hated it.
Those are the best kinds of rooms.
Oh God, no.
This is where I start to think that I have
it
something wrong in my brain, because that causes so much excitement in my head.
Oh dude, I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
No, those are the best
and
kind of
we got
rooms.
to the end and I was like, oh, finally, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Classic. And a bloke has a real chainsaw, albeit, you know, the thing's removed off it, but it sounded and looked real, because it was.
It was, yeah.
And that burst my eardrum as he came in, shielding it right over me. You saw how I ran out of that.
Yeah.
I was screaming. And I ran out to a whole load of people. Most of them were crying from, like, being scared, like being consoled by their partners. And all the other people who weren't were laughing at me when I ran out.
I was one of those people.
You just strolled out.
Yeah. I was like that when I went through my first horror mazes. Like, I've been doing horror mazes. I haven't, not really that long, like probably maybe 4 or 5 years. So it's not really been that long. It's been since COVID.
But then again, I applaud them, because the one role that they had to do was scare me. And it was bloody terrifying. You know, I remember you saying, like, I didn't know if you were lying. I remember you saying, "Oh, it's a bit bad. It's not that scary." But then I was also like, "This is the only one where they touch you."
Mm-hmm.
So there must be an element that is pretty scary about this. I thought you were kind of egging me on because it actually was really scary. But anyway, what were we talking
that
about?
was kind of like I said, 2023 survival games wasn't great. It was so much better last year in 2024.
It's amazing.
So I was
Thorpe Park,
surprised
to be
by
fair,
it. So I did lie to you, but I didn't mean to lie to you. Because it was actually pretty scary compared to the year
I lied
before.
to you, but I didn't mean to lie to you.
Toxic.
Yeah, brilliant.
But
Universal.
Universal. We need to get back to the
Crikey.
point. So this is going to be hours
Let
long.
me have a tea.
Yeah, tea time. That's the neighbours.
So good.
So one thing I found out is apparently it's potentially opening before 2030, which I find crazy, because that is only 5 years away. By 2030
I'll
as
be
well.
30 years old.
That's the first thing you think about.
Oh God. Well, my age is exactly the same as the year, which is great for me because I'll never forget how old I am. But it's a bit depressing when people actually say something's going to happen at a certain date because I know exactly how old I'll be
Yeah, that's fair enough.
straight away.
Yeah.
2030 is a long time away. It's a hell of a long time.
5 years away.
That's a long time.
Do you know how close 2020 felt? That's how far away 2030 is.
We need to move on from that because I'm getting a bit existential about that. Anyway, so
The lovely light-hearted podcast that is The Helix Show has just turned into a very deep conversation very quickly. Yeah, so I found that crazy that it's going to be potentially open before 2030. Whether it will or not, obviously that's not confirmed.
I mean, with this country, with how long things take to build, I'd like to think that's the case. I think it should be like a huge flagship thing, that we should push. The opportunity of this doesn't come along every day, to buy a plot of land that's that large, redo all the infrastructure. It's a huge job, right? And then, like we're talking about, you've got to choose the theming of it.
Which they definitely would have already done. I mean,
I don't know, man.
I mean, when they sent plans in, they must have their own confirmation of what rides they're going to do, what restaurants they're going to do, where everything's going to be. They have to, right? You can't just allocate this much space and be like, we'll put something there, we'll figure it out. You surely have to do.
Yeah, no,
you
you're
have to
right.
fit the space to the ride.
But then again, you have to think about how a lot of flat rides, for example, they're kind of flat pack in the sense that a manufacturer have these models available and the park would just go, hey, we want a flat ride here. Look through the catalogue, I want that one. And they'd order it. But with a lot of coasters, like the Eurofighter, saw the ride in Thorpe Park. That is based off of a model, but it's a custom. So the whole size of the ride changes depending on that and to fit into the space. The Smiler it wasn't a Eurofighter. It was by the same company, but it was a infinity coaster, and that was the first of its kind. So yeah, you will have some idea, I guess, to the kind of rides that you want to put in that space based off the models that you kind of like as a theme park and we want the tallest version of this coaster and that and the other. So it will be interesting to see, what they come out with, I suppose, as time goes on. But yeah, I don't know if they've decided that yet, Going back round, I think Harry Potter will be a huge aspect of it.
Okay.
I think that will be the majority of the park because it's the birthplace of Harry Potter. The merch stores are going to be huge. It wouldn't surprise me if they just built Hogwarts.
They've got that in Florida.
Really?
And in California, yeah.
Yeah, but bigger.
It's on a hill. No, but is it going to be bigger? I mean, it depends what the budget is going to be. But I mean, the budget was pretty huge for.
But we've still got the sets here. You got to remember.
Yeah.
We've got the only Harry Potter studio because it was all filmed here in the UK. So
what are they going to break that down?
I imagine they'll put new stuff in there, but also reallocate some of that stuff from the studio into this new place.
Okay.
You'd have thought, wouldn't you?
I agree with that one.
Yeah.
I've also put, very random, How to Train Your Dragon.
I see that I do think is going to be a huge one.
Yeah.
You've got the live action coming out soon.
Okay, yeah.
It's either a film or a TV series. But How to Train Your Dragon, you can see the theming around a dragon ride or something like that of that nature.
There's a lot you can do with that because obviously they're going to have some kind of kids corner almost. Even
that seems like the default in most parks, doesn't it? You'd have that kind of younger area.
Exactly, and I can really imagine that being in there. I'm kind of intrigued to see if they do kind of run with that or not, because again, it already exists.
Yeah, but it's also a franchise that's kind of kicking a dead horse. You know what I mean? They're redoing it now with Scarlett Johansson and someone else.
Is it new actors in it, is it?
Yeah,
I didn't
they're
know
like
that.
they're doing a new one, and I don't know if it's like a new trilogy or whatever. But it personally, it doesn't excite me. You know, I think a lot of the great aspects of the original films were the fact that it was really good in its time, and they're amazing films still. Like the first few Jurassic Park films are amazing. I was never a fan of Jurassic World.
Top Jurassic Park film. What's your top Jurassic Park film?
Probably the first one.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
probably
first
the first one. It's pretty good. I know people will say 3. There's a common one.
No, see, I've heard the complete opposite. So that's why I wanted to ask you.
Oh, okay.
Number 3 is, I think, the most nostalgic Jurassic Park for me personally. And whenever I tell people that, they always think that I'm crazy because they think that the third one is the most pointless one. That's what I've heard.
The only nostalgia I have off it is that my mum used to have the VHSs, showing our age now. They used to have the VHS tapes of them. And I remember I liked the third one because it was chrome.
Oh, I didn't.
It had
know
like a
that.
chrome cover because all the logos were different as they
Yeah.
went on, didn't they? Did Spielberg do all 3 of them? I don't know.
I think so.
There's a great story I'll tell you another time about. He actually made Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year and won Oscars for both of them. It's insane. Anyway,
Legend.
Jurassic World, yeah, I can see that. I can see that working again. A raptor ride or something like that. I think you could get one of the wing coasters.
I guess that'll be like a pterodactyl ride, right?
Yeah, like a launch.
But again, that's been done.
That's what I mean, man.
So
They've got to use things that, well, actually, isn't Universal the same people who do Despicable Me?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yep.
There's going to be Minions everywhere, isn't
Yeah.
there?
So this is another thing that's on my list. So in
I don't want to go on the Minion ride. I don't want to go. I don't know, in 5 years' time, cut 2, it will be us going there and you going, I want to go on the Minions ride. And me being like, I really don't want to do that.
It's funny you say that because I've never actually been on the Minions ride. Well, it's the
There's already a Minions ride.
so yeah, it's in Florida and California.
Oh, God.
So in
Are they any good?
Florida, you have the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem that opened in 2012, and then California it was 2014. I don't know if they're named the same, but I haven't been on the one in Florida.
And they
I've
were
only been on the one in
They
California.
were new rides or were they rethemes? Do you know?
As in, like, was it like the same ride before, but just a different film?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
No, yeah. Like, was it a ride that was just rethemed or was it one that was built
Gosh,
from the ground up?
What was there before Despicable Me? I can't remember what was there before Despicable Me. I
It
wouldn't
doesn't
know with
matter.
California.
We're talking about Minions and Minion Mayhem. It really doesn't matter.
I kind of want to find out now.
I know,
But-
but I'm not rushing to.
No, but again, I would have
find
been
out.
about 8
Okay, cool.
when it was before Despicable Me.
All right.
But yeah, I've never been on the one in Florida because again, it opened in 2012 and I haven't been to Florida since 2016. So I never went in that 4-year period. But I have been on the one in California and it's actually an alright ride. It's fine. I met Gru.
Did you?
Yep.
How's he doing?
He's fine. He's tall.
He's tall.
Yeah. It felt nice to be around.
I just imagine him as like a short king, Gru.
No, he's big.
Oh wait, no, he is big in the,
Yeah.
in the cartoons.
Skinny little legs.
Skinny little legs, massive
Yeah.
nose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quite broad. Well,
Cool.
his chest
Cool.
is quite really skinny arms, I think. Icon.
Insane.
Yeah, but I've met him. He's lovely. Really nice. Another thing is a lot of the films that I thought would be good are ones that have already existed in Universal's like parks again. So
Sure. Okay.
there was a ride. I don't know if you class it as a ride, but there was like an experience in Florida that was Shrek 4D, which was a 4D cinema
Okay.
around the film,
Sure.
which no longer exists in Florida. So, but this is another thing I didn't know. A Shrek 5 is coming out,
That's true.
which I did not know
Yeah, we
until
could-
I read about it.
We could actually have a Shrek film
Yeah.
ride.
But it seems a little bit pointless to close one ride in one park and then
Yeah.
just chuck so much money into a space that's going to be Shrek 5 themed. I don't know. It seems a little bit pointless. Maybe that's
What
just
it
my
would do if
opinion.
they like completely remastered
Type
it.
thing.
Yeah, and like got a new cast, but it looks like they're all returning, so it's a bit of a different story. But I think the only really important part is that it's very different to
Yeah.
everything that we already have. You know, Alton Towers probably comes closest to having a park that's really well themed, and that helps because of, I guess, the area around it. and it's a beautiful estate anyway. Whereas Thorpe Park's kind of, you don't really have anywhere to hide with Thorpe Park. It's an island, so you don't. You have
It's
to.
all very man-made, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have to really heavily theme it to make it feel quite immersive. So whatever they do, it needs to have that immersive element, because that's what separates the states parks for everything else. I mean, they've got so much space,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like they will, from the plans I've seen, have the opportunity to expand it further in the far future. So I think, all that matters really is that it's immersive, because it's a very rare thing to find here in the UK as a park that's like truly, sinks your teeth into theming and it can also start from the ground up. It's very rare that we have a theme park that's built from scratch in the modern day, because they've all been parks that, like poor Alton Towers, is a beautiful bit of land when they bought it, and John Wardley did an amazing job with everyone else there, theming the entire area to work within, building all the coasters and such to work within the restrictions of the land and be respectful to its owners and surrounding area. And the Thorpe Park, it's an island, so they're very restrictive, and they've been open for so many years that they've had to either remaster rides or just kind of put new bits onto the island, or completely just flat pack all of it, or just flatten all of it and just start again. So it's gonna be, whatever it is, it's gonna be really unique, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait for it personally, because it's I feel like we're so limited for theme parks just in the UK. We never really get anything new, and that's down to rides and, like you said, no new parks. So it's gonna be we're gonna be spoiled when that opens. I can't wait.
I hope it goes well.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one that I've really got here is I think a War of the Worlds ride would be good.
Oh my god,
that would be cool.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
it would be. Do you know what? That would make a really good indoor coaster.
Yeah, I can see
setting
that.
it at night.
Loads of screens.
Yeah.
Loads of special effects.
Yeah, and you could have you could have a huge walker. Is that what they're called in it? It's been a long time since I watched that film.
Yeah.
Tripods. That's what they're called. And I knew that because I looked straight at the camera and then saw the tripod underneath. You can have one of those indoors, and you could do something where it's the biggest indoor attraction or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be really not easy to do, but there's so much you could do with that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy. So, I just thought that was quite a good idea. And then the only other ones like Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my god, they will do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'll have to do. I'll have to go and think of some of those films that are produced by Universal and kind of think about which ones I'd choose, which ones I certainly wouldn't want. Actually, it's probably the more fun conversation, isn't it? Rue the ride.
Dr. Nefario the ride. Vector the ride.
Vector the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I feel like there's a lot they could do with it, and like you said, they've got the beauty of just they can do anything.
Yeah.
As long as it's in time and budget constraints, but it's just land. And
it's just
land. That's all it is. It's just I don't know if it's a farm, but it's just a bit of land at the moment. Haven't got anything.
It's a bit of mud.
Yeah. So
we established earlier, it's just what we're known for, isn't it? Mud.
Pretty much.
Fields of mud.
Yeah, grey sky, mud. But so it'll be interesting.
Oh, thank you. That was really interesting. Also, to any of you, what do you want to see? We'd love to see what you are thinking of. Make sure you comment on whatever platform you're using and just let us know what you'd want to see at Universal. Universal UK. That's a hell of a saying, isn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember hearing so much about it when I was younger and being like, oh, we're finally getting something here.
Yeah.
And we just never did. And it's just, Universal has such a special place in my heart. So it's going to be really nice to see it here. I will be there opening day. Well, I say that.
Along with 100,000 other people.
So maybe I won't be, but I would love to be.
Oh yeah, that was a dream.
Yeah. I think I would probably wait, but yeah. Epic.
Cool.
Epic Universe is called, isn't it? Or something?
I hope not.
Oh wait, no, sorry.
Terrible name.
Later, Adam, you can cut that out. That's a separate part that's opening in a different park, so that's completely not right.
So as you sip your tea, I may as well read you my prompt for this episode. There's been a lot of movement happening this season in the world of flat rides, isn't there? So what I'd like to know is your thoughts on A, Toxicator.
Okay.
Which is obviously joining us at Alton Towers. And also kind of the removal of a beloved, the Slammer at Thorpe Park. My beloved. I bloody love that ride. Is it one that you said that you'd never been on?
I've been on Slammer once.
Okay.
And when I was on it, the seats clicked out of place when you went upside down. So
Slammer.
Special place in my heart, that ride.
Yeah, that ride
again.
was nothing short of absolutely petrifying, wasn't it?
Yes, because it wasn't even petrifying because of the ride. It was petrifying because it could break in half, and that wouldn't even surprise me.
And the noise it made. I'm certain that there's some video on YouTube for like ASMR Slammer sounds. And if there isn't, there should be.
10 hours of Slammer sounds to fall asleep to.
But for those who don't know, you will know if you're watching this, but Toxicator is a brand new ride this year coming to Alton Towers. It is a Huss top spin, but it's a suspended top spin. So that's different from ones that we've already seen at Alton Towers. Ripsaw was obviously its predecessor, and that one was a classic design. Yeah, it's beautiful because the suspended version, you will sit opposite each other. So you have one on the front and one on the back. And it's very unique because it's one of two in the world. Okay. It will definitely be the only one of its kind in the UK, which is really cool. The only other one was in Phantasialand, which is, it's called Tolucan.
And that's still there? Or is
it is still there.
Okay.
It is still going, and it's bloody gorgeous. I probably pronounced it wrong as well, but it is bloody gorgeous. It's kind of within these dials. It's stunning. I don't know if you've seen the actual model working.
I think I have. Is it quite like, I mean, I know a lot of Phantasialand is quite steampunky, isn't it? But
yeah,
it is very kind of...
Yes.
Yeah.
It is very steampunky. It's also the tallest of its kind in the world, at 78 foot. That's the only flat ride of its kind to be suspended from ground level. So it's actually going to be, I don't know if you've seen the photos of it, but they've built these huge concrete structures. And I believe, from what I've seen, it is actually on the entrance way. So you kind of, the pathway in Forbidden Valley towards Galactica.
Yes.
So they've actually built an underpass now. So they've built a raised structure out of concrete, and it's kind of like a little tunnel. And on top of that is the ride.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you'll be able to actually walk underneath it.
Oh. That means that it feels like you're higher when you're on
100%.
the ride.
Yeah, well, it will be higher.
Yeah.
From ground level at least, which is amazing. But yeah, it's a hell of a ride for Alton to be getting.
Yeah.
It
doesn't feel like there's much space around there.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's already very crowded.
Yeah.
Because we do have Galactica, although that's kind of tucked away. But, they've recently renovated what was the ride next to Nemesis?
Oh, the...
Below. Nemesis Below.
Nemesis Below?
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, what you mean Subterra?
Subterra, thank you. Nemesis Below. I'm going to coin that. And that was the first time I went on that this year.
Subterra?
Yeah.
Yeah, same as me. Well, we did... When I went on it with you, was that my first time or was it...
I think it was. No, it was. Because neither of us knew what was going on. Or what was going to happen.
Yes.
You knew details about it. You knew what kind of type of ride it was. And obviously we won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't been on it. Because the ride is very unique. And it has a lot of surprises. And you're not really kind of sure what kind of ride it is when you're in there. It's terrifying. And obviously they've retracked Nemesis. Which is amazing.
Which we've been on.
It. We have been on. But it is a crowded area. But you've also got to remember that Ripsaw did live there once. And there was another one as well, because I was looking into the manufacturer, Huss. If you're not familiar with their work, they also did Zodiac at Thorpe Park, and one called Dynamo. So that's not one I'm actually familiar with. I think it was a long time ago that ride existed, and it was right close to Ripsaw.
Okay.
I should have looked into what actual ride that was, but I've never heard of it before. Obviously, I've heard of Zodiac. But they're a really cool manufacturer. They do some really cool flat rides. They specialise in flat rides. And like I said, it's the only one of its kind in the entire of Europe, other than the one at Phantasialand. But given its unique features, it's a really good ride for Alton Towers to gain, really, and add. Because I know that they love, having world's firsts. And technically it will be. So, and it looks really cool. It looks amazing. Like the theming of it looks wicked.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, I haven't really kept that much in the loop with it because I'm more of like a coaster freak than I am a flat ride freak. I love a flat ride, don't get me wrong. And it's like actually interesting that you brought this up, because one of the things that I was going to talk about, but I don't think we will because we've yapped a bit too much, was Project Horizon. If you include Spinball Whizzer, you have 8
Yeah.
big coasters.
It's huge, yeah.
I mean, if you're not, like 7, I'd say 7 because Spinball Whizzer is a great ride, but it's not like a big ride, right? So 7 big coasters, which is massive, but they have a lot of space. But I feel like they've always kind of lacked on the flat ride side of things.
Sure.
They
And obviously it
haven't
doesn't
really
help that they removed so many and didn't replace them.
Yeah, and obviously Hex was closed for so long as well.
Yes, but
So-
also they removed another one this year, didn't they? The swinging boat thing.
Oh, Blade.
Yes.
Yeah, I never went on that.
No, me neither.
No.
I know people are like, oh, they're getting rid of Blade.
Oh, no.
Oh, so I know that was a common thing. I can't comment on it. I never went on it.
I mean, it's just like any other swinging ship ride, right?
But I remember seeing videos of Ripsaw, and I got really annoyed that I hadn't been on it.
Mm.
And I did see the one in Phantasialand, and I used to watch videos of it when I was young. And because the theme was so cool, I was like, and it also looks really violent.
Yeah, it did
Because it's
proper
a
throw you
huge
around.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
one is going to be no exception because it's the same model.
Mm.
So
I love those kind of rides, though. It's kind of like a typical funfair ride for me, I think. Like, like the Sizzler, or like the one that goes around on the wall. I don't know what they call that. But it's those ones that like
Yeah.
really throw you
one
around.
that goes like
They just-
that.
But do you know what ones I mean?
Yeah, wash the windows.
So I've never been on Ripsaw. I'd never gone on it, but I've watched it, like stood and watched it, because I remember my sister going on it when I was younger, but I was too young
Right.
for it. But I remember watching it, and yeah, it was proper violent, and it
It
used
is
to like
really violent.
tip towards the jets and then go
That's
down
right.
towards it, right?
So they have confirmed it. It will have jet features as well.
Okay.
And obviously being Toxicator, it's all of the branding and all of the theming is being around that kind of toxic waste element. So I hope it's green. I don't know how you can make it green. It's
Probably lights.
lots of dye and lights.
I
and
don't know if
stuff
they'll
like
do dye though, right? Because I mean, is the water touching you? Does it?
that. I don't know.
'Cause I mean, if
Probably
that's-
not.
Are people just gonna be walking out green?
No, you're right. What it will be is a pool of water with green lights in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's because I'm just trying to imagine it, and it's like it obviously fits the theming because it's kind of Nemesis is meant to be quite like a contaminated area, and it
And Subterra's no different. You have people going around
Yeah.
in like the hazmat suits, and I
Yeah.
think it will fit really, really well.
exactly. But my thing is like green. I know that's like the color of toxic waste. I've always thought Galactica's very out of place.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but I get it though, because if they were to use red, because obviously the theme is all red, I think it'd be too much like blood. And I think that maybe that might be a bit
Yeah,
too
fair enough.
much
If you're
for
thinking
them.
specifically for the water, yes, it would be.
But
like
you're
blood.
right, it is a weird choice.
I mean, I don't think it's a weird choice because I think instinctively you would, if you were just making a new ride and you weren't thinking too much about it, you would make it green if it was called
No,
Toxicator.
yeah, but
is it Intoxicator?
It's Toxicator,
Toxicator.
I believe.
Again, I don't know much about it. I've just seen it on social media.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll show you some videos afterwards. It looks brilliant. They've already done the testing. There's been some amazing people who've gone and kind of like peeked through fences at the park.
As they always do.
As they always do. You can't stop them. But they rather promptly released a video afterwards of it going around and doing its first testing runs. So it's all operational. It's all good. It's all going.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll see more of it before we open for the season. I mean, it is currently February, so there's not that much time, and it is confirmed to be opening as soon as the park opens.
Well,
So that area is going to be dense. It's
yeah,
going to be densely
that's
popular.
always my thing with Alton Towers is like it's very kind of quiet,
Area focused.
busy. Like it's because it's so you have the different areas. Like you have like Dark Forest and X Sector and all these things. It's very, like you said, it's very dense. Very, what's the word like?
Well, they
It's focusing
focus
on-
on an area at a time that they develop, really, don't they?
Mm.
And it's that makes complete sense. I'm sure that the next area that they're developing is over by Hex, because obviously you've got the new flat ride that's going to be going in,
Yeah,
and that would
so
be
that's Project Horizon.
Project Horizon, yeah.
Yeah,
Secret
right.
Weapon 9,
Yes, yeah, we're reading into it when we went,
yeah, because it won't be. It won't. No, I don't. It won't be 10, but
or it might be 10.
no, I think it's 9, because
Oh, it might be.
Secret Weapon 8 was the Woody Coaster,
Wicker Man.
Wicker Man. Secret Weapon 8, that was.
Should we do like a test? We'll both guess a year and then we'll Google it.
I think
I would
was
say 2018.
2016.
You might be right with that, actually.
I think it was early as 2016 because I think I went when I was 15 and it was being like talked about and built. It might be 17. I'm doubting myself now. What?
It was 2018.
Oh, shit. Well, I tried, didn't I? Fair enough. A couple of years ago when I went to Alton Towers with you are right because that was my first time on Wicker Man. And the previous time I went was 15, but I guess that threw me off. I thought it was a year later.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, we look forward to actually going on that.
Mm.
I think we're going to be going to Alton Towers as soon as physically possible.
Yep.
In the new year.
We're aiming to do Chessington.
Yeah, because it's first
Legoland.
for us. Chessington, I've never been to.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've been to Chessington. I've been like once or twice in the past, like 7 or 8 years of my life.
Sure.
But I've been a few times before that. But I went. It was either last year or the year before.
Mm.
It might have been the year before.
Fair enough.
It's a good park.
Yeah.
It's just not massively thrilling compared to Thorpe Park or Alton Towers because it's pretty tame. It's just like a family park, really. I'd put it on the same level as like Legoland.
Well, in that case, talking about flat rides, and I mentioned it earlier, obviously, very sad, the removal of Slammer. Given the fact that we could talk about this again for another hour, but just as a quick thought, that removal is quite significant. I think the maze next to it, Black Mirror, and then was Deadbeat for...
Yeah.
So I think they have an opportunity to actually get rid of that entirely alongside the Slammer, and you've got a pretty big area then to develop something quite significant. Because you could choose so many things. I'm not too much of a fan of like top spins, like Samurai in Thorpe Park. Like I really enjoyed it, but they're just violent and they make anything that spins makes me kind of feel a bit sick. Roller coasters I could ride all day, but it's just different when it's a flat ride. I think the only thing that I would enjoy being there is maybe like a drop tower. I know we already have one in the park. You have the well, it's not the Angry Birds one.
Is it still called Detonator? It was like Bombs Away or something. Well, that was when it was Angry Birds.
That was when it was Angry Birds.
Now it's like Fireworks, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. But I think that...
I can't remember what it's called.
I think there's space there where you could really do like a very tall part. Because it's a great area of the park to have something, next to Hyperia that's also quite tall. And it also gives a really good viewpoint of the park. I guess only on one side, actually. It'd be better to have it in the middle. But I'd quite like a drop tower, to be honest.
Okay.
They're not really... I mean, Toxicator, we've spoken about it. I'm really excited to see it, but I'm bloody terrified to go on it. Because I think it's just going to make me feel violently sick. I think it's going to hit a lot of people, actually. They're going to see it and go, that's tall. And then be quite unwell when they go on it.
I think it's kind of one of those things where I don't really think about it. And then when I get there, I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, that's pretty beefy.
Yeah, 100%.
But I underestimate it a bit, probably.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. I think my thing is, again, this is the Fright Night side of my brain kicking in because that's kind of where I always go. It feels like demolishing that entire bit is just completely wiping out an area that they can use for Fright Night, right? Because it feels like they've got such limited space now. This is just coming from a customer point of view. I don't work there. I don't know what, back spaces they've got. But like they've gotten rid of the whole area by the...
Old Town.
That's it, Old Town. Obviously they've got rid of that to put Hyperia there, and that area we didn't. You haven't been on it,
no,
but there was
mentioned it was a very significant place for Fright Night.
Yeah, so there used to be. It wasn't really a maze; it was more like a walk, and it was called Platform 15.
Oh God, I remember. See, I remember this though because I remember how much you spoke about how brilliant it was.
Yeah, I think it was kind of quite a controversial one because I heard a lot of mixed reviews, but I loved it. I personally. You can get two sides of mazes. You can get the really chaotic ones, a bit like Creek Freak Massacre, or you can get the kind of quiet, eerie ones that like Platform 15. And that's why I loved it, because it's quite difficult to create that spooky atmosphere and do it right. And I learned that when I went to Tully's Farm this year, or last year actually, we're in 2025 now. And there were a couple of mazes there that were trying to get that kind of creepy vibe, and they just didn't do it right. Because it is really difficult to do. And it was such a cool... Because it was basically just a long stretch, and you just walked the length of where the train was.
As I spoke about earlier, that would have terrified me.
Yeah.
That would have been the end of it.
You would have hated that, because it was very... there were a lot of people jumping out of corners. Like you had to go
Forget it.
through it.
Forget it.
You had to walk along the length of the track, and then you'd go into like this little village, and you had to go through like little tiny like doorways and buildings and things.
Again,
And it was dead quiet.
forget it, man.
It was just like
Yeah.
hazy, dark. It's like it's walking through a dark forest, basically.
That's just this like opposite to fun.
And it was so good.
Oh,
I remember like, it was so good. That was one of my favorites.
There's something wrong with you, mate.
No, it was
That's
so
just
good.
so
It was
strange,
amazing. And there was like a bit, I mean, it's not like spoilers anymore because it doesn't exist, but there was
Sure.
a bit at the end where you would get to the end, and then there would be like a worker that would be like, oh, okay, that's the end of the maze. Thank you very much. You'd turn the corner. And
You
then there was,
bastard.
and then there was the train conductor there. Basically the whole story was built around like the train conductor and stuff and how he went missing or something. And he was there, and then you just get chased out.
Oh, just have a nap. He's around the corner.
Yeah.
He's in the tool shed.
Just let the train burn. I think it was like there's like some gas leaking or something.
Of course.
Just as you do. But yeah, he was there and they chased you out.
You see,
And then you come out to the area by Old Town, which was also where Creek Massacre was. So you have these chainsaw wielding
yeah, no.
the buckwheats.
Well, given the fact that it was quite a rundown area anyway, I remember going on a Loggers Leap in 2016 or maybe 2015. It depends on when it was shut down. And it was a state. It was really sad to see. Like we'd go around the ride and there were certain corners where you'd go into like the little huts before a climb. And it was just tattered.
You was like banging from side
yeah,
to
and like
side
the
and-
it,
I mean,
some
there's
of
not a lot
the-
they can do about that. But
No, but some of the actual basin bits were chipped off, and it just didn't feel safe. You know,
you could just get out. That's what I
Yeah,
loved.
that
It's
was-
like
yeah.
you'd go down like there were 2 drops, weren't there? You go down the first bit, and then you just kind of go in and out, and it's like
You
there's like
get
an
out.
audio, and you could just step out. It's like the same level that,
Yeah.
which is that is what a log flume is like, but it just
it didn't feel safe. It felt
No.
too far away from the park as well when you were in the boat. And it was that same feeling of like, if this breaks down, I don't think they'll actually know that it's broken down.
that's the thing.
Yeah, terrifying, dude.
Yeah,
But
it just like I said, it did feel so set back though. Like I remember when
Yeah.
it first closed, or like any of the
that
time
area
after.
for years was scary.
It was, but also
Yeah.
it was so difficult to see. That's how I
There's no
realized
lighting.
how kind of set back it. Well, not set back. It was just so hidden because it was so difficult to even just get a glimpse of like the the remains
I
of what
really
was.
found that area quite disturbing and unsettling because it was such a, especially at night on Friday nights. I remember it being pitch black. There's hardly any lighting at all, and it was right next to Saw. And the Saw ride is probably one of my favorite rides in the world. Not necessarily because of the ride, but I think the theming is amazing. You know, the Saw ride, the Saw films terrify me. I love that. You know, you can make a film like that that's so like practical heavy and make it look convincing, and the awful films.
Yeah. It's so unique because I mean, a roller coaster based on a horror film is like 2 of my favorite things.
That is just
horror films, roller coasters.
It's
put together.
so cool, and the theming for it is so well done. And rest in peace, Saw Alive. Bring it back.
I never went on it.
Bring it
The
back.
first year I went to Fright Nights was the first year that it was closed.
That's so sad.
It's
I
just
mean-
so sad seeing it now because
Yeah,
it's
'cause you can kind of see it
sinking.
on the walkway.
It's
Yeah,
actually sinking. Like
yeah.
I remember reading that a couple of years back because it's actually floating on the water, and one side of it is.
I think they should just add it as a permanent attraction. I guarantee you, if you had that as a permanent attraction, like Down Drown. It's not Darren Brown's anymore. Redacted.
Oh
It's
yeah,
Ghost Train.
yeah.
But that has live actors in all year round, right?
Yeah,
so- Yeah. But if you just took, I'm not a fan of that ride anyway. So if you just made Saw Alive as a permanent thing, I guarantee you it'd be one of the longest rides in the park all year round. Fact.
it would be busy. Imagine the renovation they'd have to do to it.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
just
it's
start
been
again.
left for what 6 years now, 7 years.
Sure, but
And
you could-
also, like I said, it was floating. You'd have to build a whole base for it
yeah,
in the water. Which are they even allowed? I don't know. Are they allowed?
I don't know. But this is the thing. Like they could in some area, whether it is where the Slammer is or where the Ghost Train currently is, that'd be way too far away from the ride. But there's enough area around Saw where you could build that as a proper building
Yeah, that's true.
and just do like, it'd be like the world's first permanent scare maze. That, and it being, there's a brand new Saw film coming out next year. So it's not like that franchise is going anywhere. I imagine they have the rights for a gajillion amount of time, because even if they stop making the Saw films, which I don't think they will, it brings so much money to the park. I don't think can be rethemed as anything else. It would suck, because everyone was still cool at Saw, and it would lose its charm, because the whole point of it is that. So really, I hope and pray it's probably not going to be the case, but for a long period of my life, it is still going to be Saw. I think you should build a permanent Saw attraction.
I would agree personally, because obviously I'd be first in the queue if that was a thing. I think the only thing is, though, is it so...
It'd be so expensive because of the live actors.
But also I'm thinking, well, that's the thing. It's like, I'm worried about how bad it would be, because I know what it's like in, off-peak, when it's like spring or something, and you go into Darren Brown or you go into Walking Dead and there's no actors. Like, imagine going into Saw Live and there's like 3 actors.
I know, but like
you'd have to really put some love into it. But I think the main thing is, like, it's so specific. Not so, I don't know how to word it, but it's got such a specific audience. I can't imagine anyone under the age of 16 wanting to go in that maze.
Well, I think there was an age restriction.
There was, yeah.
So
maybe it was a recommendation. I don't know. But again, I don't remember how busy it was when it was open, because I feel like it was quite a while ago now. But I feel like it would be really popular for a few months. I just worry about the longevity of it, and considering how much money they'd have to put into it.
But it would be cool. It would be cool.
Because it closed for a reason, and I don't know if that was because it was sinking. I think that is part of the reason.
But if you hired people who had a full-time job to just do that every day, like, I think, it doesn't matter if you've done it like 50 times before. It would still be an amazing experience. I think it was the best scare maze they ever did. I think it would be the only one that would work as a full year-round attraction because of the theming of the film. Would I want it where the Slammer is, which is what the original question was? No, I think that area would be much better used, for keeping that one for the scare maze, Deadbeat as it's now called. But again, when that's not Fright Night, it's just left there. That's my point, is that permanent venues like that, where you can't have a full year-round something happening in it, it's wasted space.
Yeah, that's what I guess they tried to do with like Black Mirror, is like kind of create an experience that wasn't it wasn't necessarily kind of Halloween based. And then it was just like, from what I remember, the queues were just dead. Like,
well, no one went on it because it wasn't a good enough ride, and everyone was a bit iffy about whether or not it'd work as a concept anyway. But Saw is a proven concept; it works. The theming's scary. Everyone loves it. People go on Saw the ride because it is Saw the ride. It's probably the only reason they go on it, because it's not like it's a smooth experience anymore.
It's not really that. I mean, it's got a cool drop, but I feel like, that's a good point. If it wasn't Saw, it wouldn't really.
To be honest, I think it's going to be their next retrack. If it's, actually, I imagine Colossus will probably come first.
Didn't they just?
I know, but they've got to do all of it. Because it is smoother, don't get me wrong, but some of the loops in that are pretty brutal still.
On the topic of Colossus, I feel like that's just a ride that I just forget about, which I'm sorry to anyone out there that loves that ride.
I do love
which I know you do.
Then again, remember when we tried sitting in it last time?
Yeah.
That was so funny, because we're both the same height. We've got long legs. That was a painful experience getting in that ride, wasn't it? And it does, it's uncomfortable. It puts me off going on it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I feel like there's, especially when the park is busy, there's so many other priorities.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, the corkscrew's cool, but also I think I like a drop more than going upside down.
That's what I mean. I think that the Slammer is a perfect location for a drop tower, because it has a very small surface area. There's not a lot of surface area to build there. So making something that's tall makes sense. That's probably why they did put it there in the first place, because it was a tall ride. I don't think any other thing would work there. So I'm just sat here scratching my head over what they could do there.
Well, because it's not a massive space, is it?
No, but they've also got the restaurant that's never really used, and it's a bit forgotten about.
Yeah, I've never been in there.
EP.1. No, me neither. I've heard it's quite good on certain Fright nights because they dress it up as a bar.
Maybe we should do a video where we do things that we would never do.
That's a great
idea.
idea.
Go around and we eat the foods that because I walk past so many different little huts and restaurants and I've never been in them.
Yeah, that's true.
Is there a Mexican food place opposite the pizza pasta buffet?
Yeah, I've been there.
I've never been there.
I've had a burrito there before. It was really nice.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess.
But we should do that. We should do like a little bit of food from everywhere. And give it a tier list.
Yeah.
That's another point to make, is that there is a lot more things coming under the Helix brand, but this is the Helix Show. This is our little podcast. But yeah, sorry.
If it's just if you got this far in and you
And you didn't know that, then I don't see anything else going there. I think that's going to be one of the most interesting parts of the Thorpe Park's future, because they could expand it, because the kind of TP restaurant is what separates it from the ghost train.
Yes.
And that landmass around there.
Yeah.
So if you said goodbye to the ghost train, I mean,
I wouldn't be too down.
no,
About that,
I was
to
going
be
to say,
honest.
not too many
No, they're never
tears
going to
are
do
going to
that
be shed.
because I mean that was that 2016.
I know, and it's a
So
shame.
it's like it's new. That's pretty new.
I know, but it's just
It's not going to go
it's
anywhere.
not my favourite.
Yeah.
But I think you could. I'm talking in creative mode here. Like the expense of doing this would be astronomical. Stripping that whole area, you have a whole like an S curve. You could put something quite significant in
And
there.
that's such a good location as well. I mean that's
Yeah, it's prime
very
location.
central. Do you not think that would make that area of the park way too concentrated? Because obviously you've got Hyperia and you've got Saw and you'd have whatever this new crazy
Yeah.
concept is that you're thinking of. And then it's like the other side. I feel like in terms of crowd management,
But I actually think that's quite a quiet place, because the pathway
not now Hyperia's there.
obviously not. I mean that walkway is the busiest it's probably been in years. But you got to remember, there's no ride where the I'm Celebrity Get Me Out of Here
Oh,
ride
did you ever
used
go
to
on
be.
that?
I did go on
Oh,
that.
that was like pretty good.
And it was so weird, because when you'd finish it, you'd go into right where the Nemesis queue line exit was, and all these people would be rushing out looking at photos, and you just are like, you come out like
Down
head
this
first
slide.
down this tube slide, like composing yourself, and some like kids staring at you like because they've just come off of Nemesis, like what's going on? And there was no one to greet you at the end. You were just like,
You just opened a gate and walked out. I'm pretty sure like once as well, I came out the bottom of the slide and I kind of stepped out of the gate, stood on the other side of the fence waiting for like, I can't remember who I was with at the time, like a family member. And they told me that I had to carry on moving. And I was like, but I'm waiting for people. Like, what am I meant to do? Like walk out and then just hope I find someone? That ride has like a really weird place. It has like I don't know if a special place in my heart is the right word because
because it's not special.
it's and it's not in my heart, you know. but that was kind of like one of my first experiences of an experience. I won't say, I don't know if amaze is the right word, but I did that before I did Fright Nights, and it really kind of struck a chord with me. It really made me panic, even though it wasn't scary. I wouldn't say it was quite isolating.
But it was chaotic, and there was
It
no
was.
guidance. When you were in there, that was it. You had to kind of figure it out. And from what I remember, there was like certain voice lines that would activate from like you walking into a room, but there was no control either about where people were based in the actual ride or attraction. So you'd just get clumps of people in one certain area, and then you'd run into a room and there'd be like 4 different families in there all pointing at each other like, what do we do? And it's like, do some of us just wait here? And whilst these guys, I remember there was multiple occasions where we just walked through because we were like, well, I'm not waiting for this. It's rubbish. And then, oh, the slide's here. The end. It was terrible.
Thanks for writing.
But the point being, that area was quiet. Obviously, it's now much more populated because of Hyperia's queue line and the journey that it takes to Hyperia. But I think that it's a very quiet area still. I think you could really put something quite strong there.
I mean, I guess the thing is talking about like crowd management is even though we have our opinions about Ghost Train, it's still a busy ride. You know, there's already a lot of crowds there.
Yes, it is a popular attraction. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. I mean, I think it's probably more family oriented. I think
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I wouldn't say it's necessarily family orientated, but me as an adult, it doesn't bother me, you know?
don't get me
And I
wrong.
don't know if that's just because I like horror experiences, so I have
Yeah.
kind of high standards. But it's not scary, but also if you're a child, it is scary.
Well, don't
So
get me wrong. Like,
What is the audience?
for
you know?
the replacement of getting rid of the Darren Brown elements of it, you know, they've done an amazing job to redo it. It's not bad. Like, the pre-show is fantastic, and the atmosphere is really scary. Unfortunately, they had a little surprise at the end, and I won't tell you if you haven't been on it, but I think they've stopped doing that now,
I think they have as well. The past few times I've been,
which really upsets
they haven't done
me,
it, which I
that's
would say
literally
is
the
one
best
of the best
bit.
things. Like,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, now that you've been on it once, and it's like you expect it, but like the first time I went on that was scary. Like that was really,
it got me.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so unexpected.
yeah.
I mean, you were expecting something, but you didn't know what to expect. You know, it was that kind of thing.
Do you know what? It is quite a good ride. I have it. It's a
You got your little soft spot coming out.
a little soft spot for it because it made me feel tense and it was unique. I'd never been on anything like it before, and I was really impressed. But it's in the same way that I look at the Walking Dead ride. Like, that went above my expectations, and now I like it.
Oh, you didn't do the VR?
No, I didn't do it.
Okay.
And there were elements of that ride that I really wanted to see that I never got to and experience.
The VR.
I know. I heard it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was a good idea. It just very rarely worked.
But at the time, they had like a huge investment, obviously, with like HTC Vives, which back in the day, you know, they were made by Steam. It was like, this is really cool technology. I remember one friend of mine had one, and I remember seeing it for the first time, and I almost like froze from excitement because, you know, VR back then was so limited, but that was the significantly cool one. I think they used HTC Vives. I can't remember, or like a version of one. But they also obviously had them on Galactica, and they got removed, so that was bad.
Did you do that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did, and you know, let's save that for another episode because I'd like to talk about Galactica another time.
Oh yeah, we could talk about Galactica. We always talk about it. I feel like that's one of our main topics of conversation.
It is, and it's one that I'm very passionate about as well. But going straight back to the question
again, because
this is just what we do on the show. When thinking about what you kind of want to see in that area, do you want it to be renovated? Do you want it to just be left now? It's kind of
is this going back to the area that's the Ghost Train?
No, this is going. We lost the question. Okay. Now, going back to the question of the slammer, obviously that's
I see.
removed.
Okay, right. So,
what would you want to see there now?
Like I said, it's difficult because I feel like, again, I haven't really seen a bird's eye view of it, but I feel like it's not that massive of a space.
No.
I feel like what I want to see there and what is going to be there is two completely different things. I agree with you that I think Saw Alive should be brought back permanently. I would love to see that. I just don't think it's going to happen. That area, I feel like it hasn't really got room for anything but a flat ride. It's so useful having that kind of empty shell of a space that they use for Fright Nights, because I'm trying to think of a permanent space that there is for a maze.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I think they'd have to re-renovate that area that they turned into like chairs, and you know that pathway that they've now got between where Saw Alive was. It's just basically a walkway.
Yeah,
they'd have to re-renovate that and maybe expand it a little bit.
And then if they did that, they haven't got room for the crows.
Precisely.
So it's
a constant moving scale with that limited space. You know, if you're adding something, you're removing something. You're taking something away, and that's why I also think Thorpe Park get a hard time, because they can't really please anyone. You know, someone's always going to be disappointed with something being taken away in order to be given something.
Again, I'd like to reiterate the fact this is coming from someone who is very heavily invested in Fright Nights. So that is always going to be my first.
You're going to be biased in that respect.
Yeah. I just feel like when we went to Fright Nights last year, it was so limited on what there was to do. I mean, there were
but then again,
4 mazes.
But there were quite a few. Like,
well, I think there were 3 or 4 mazes. I'd have to count. I can't remember specifically. Yeah. But in terms of the scare zones, there used to be more than that, and there were none. Like, the only ones there were the one by Stealth that was like the snake and witches or something, which was cool. That was really cool. I liked that. That area wasn't scary.
Sure.
But then you just have the crows, which I think has kind of gone a little bit downhill. That used to be a lot better. But it's kind of, again, like Creek Freak Unchained, that's gone.
Yep.
And then
that's what I mean. I feel like they're removing a lot, so what are they adding? Yeah,
exactly. And so it's like that's what kind of sucks about Thorpe Park, is there just isn't much room for innovation like there is at Alton Towers.
Yeah.
But again, Alton Towers is difficult because it's such a esteemed estate. I don't know if that's the right phrase to use, but like you said, there's a bit of give and take.
Yeah, it is.
I'm always thinking about Fright Nights.
Yeah, it's a constant moving scale, and you know nothing comes without sacrifice. But I think it would have to be, you have to make the most of the land there, so it'd have to be something tall. I think a drop tower would be really cool. It's not going to be like a top scan because we've already got one, and I doubt that Merlin are going to put a really good top spin in Alton Towers and then be like, hey, let's just replicate that in Thorpe Park. I can't see that happening, because there's only very few models of that, so it's what are you going to do really? And I believe S&S made Slammer, and I don't think that they are operating anymore,
right?
Which is a shame, but you can't make a replacement of that ride. I mean, that ride's got an amazing history. There is a YouTuber who I will link below, who did an amazing video on the history of the Slammer. I'm really sorry I haven't written your name down. If you're watching and you know, comment so people can find it. But he did an amazing video on the history of the Slammer and its history and the fact that it was incredibly unique. Yeah, there was no chance that it was ever going to be like replaced or replicated because it just doesn't exist anymore. It's a real shame. I'm not going to like be able to grieve until I see the space where it was. You know, I took a few photos of when we were last there because I knew it might actually be the last time I saw it.
So like when it reopens in March, is it going to be gone?
Yeah.
Is it gone already? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it will be gone by the time that this goes out.
Oh,
but
okay.
as of right now, they are taking it out piece by piece. Jack Silkstone just put up his video, which was great. It was a little video basically talking about, that ride being removed and what that means for the future of that space. And just more specifically, Jack mentioned about the fact that there are some people who built that ride who were taking it down 20 years later.
Oh, that's
which was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really nice.
That must be emotional.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's just it's nice.
It's kind of the circle of life, I guess. But...
Yeah, and I imagine it will be one of those things where in a few years there might be another auction where you get to buy pieces of the Slammer, which would be really cool.
Unless they disintegrate under someone's touch, which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
Well, they saw some of the boats, mind you, of
Loggers Leap.
Yeah, they didn't disintegrate.
How much did they go for in the end? I never actually.
Thousands.
I remember looking at the auction a few times, but this was like a few days before
definitely wasn't
ended.
$1 billion, which was like what some of them were listed for.
This is when you're like, it was £5,000, and I know that because I bought it.
Yeah, we did make a joke actually that the auction was live when we were planning the show, and we're like, what if we put money together, bought it, and we did a podcast in the boat
and didn't say anything about it. Just sat there and just carried on with our life.
I thought that would have been cool, but
it's a lot of money to chuck at something. Yeah.
I think eventually on the wall we'll get some sort of memorabilia.
There were some really cool pieces.
The Saw Alive.
That is exactly
poster.
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh my god, I mean, I think I'm just gonna get that printed anyway because it was so cool.
If the person that bought this is watching, I heard it's better to leave your windows open at night to let the poster breathe.
Yeah, I am a little bit disappointed by that. I hope that some of the main creators were able to kind of snatch a piece.
Yeah.
It'd be good for, their kind of backdrops and stuff. But yeah, no, it's an amazing thing they did. But yeah, okay, well, that kind of pulls us to the end, really. I'd like to know what you guys want kind of put there. It was very sad to see it go, isn't it? But there's a lot of opportunity for that area, and I hope that they kind of make the most of it and that we get to know something about that soon.
Well, I mean, just the Slammer area isn't big. I don't know if, again...
It'll probably be something they'll leave for years.
Oh, yeah, I feel like it'll just be either... I mean, they wouldn't take it down unless they were really thinking about doing something, surely. But if they do something, they'll have to take down the deadbeat.
Oh, they'd have to take down more than that. They'd probably have to take down X or the Walking Dead ride.
Oh, they would never do that, surely.
No,
what was that? Was that...
That's an old ride now.
Is it?
Yeah.
What, Walking Dead or X?
No, like the actual roller coaster itself, it's beyond its sell-by date, I believe.
Well, Walking Dead, I mean, was that 2020?
Yeah, but the X opened in 2006, I think, or even earlier.
Yeah, but the retheme wasn't that long ago.
I know, but it depends. I think
that would have still been, I mean...
How much did they actually do to the track, though?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like keeping it updated. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't done the research of whether or not the manufacturer's still around or like what, maybe they did and it can go forever.
Maybe it was just a short, it might, because to be honest, now I'm thinking about it, it's not like they really had to do loads to it. Maybe it was just a short-term renovation just while they...
No, but they really did quite a lot. That tower that they built, the little zombie tower outside.
Yeah.
Amazing bit of theming that was.
Yeah. But again, when you think about how much goes into building a new ride or generally renovating a ride, I feel like it's not much compared to... It is cool.
No, I mean, you are... Yeah. But I think for what they did, they probably will lose the license. I always thought it'd be better to do a Black Ops Zombies.
Oh, okay.
But it's not as, popularly known.
Laser tag.
Or a massive laser tag arena.
Yeah. Can you imagine in X?
Well, this is the thing. I had an idea to do Black Ops Zombies, and it sounds daft, obviously, because it is. Some people might be listening to this like, what on earth is he talking about? But if anyone who does know, they'll know that the actual theming in that game is really strong and has like pieces across it, like the perk machines and the different characters and stuff, the wonder weapons. There's so many like aspects of that where you could think, but that's again, they'd never do that in 100 years. Okay, well, cool. I think that kind of wraps up the first episode of the Helix Show.
Yeah. How long have we been
The Helix
recording?
Probably way too long.
What time is it? You got to watch.
It's currently 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so we've been recording for about 2 hours.
I don't know how much you guys are actually going to see of this, to be fair. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. This is a huge thing for us. You know, we have so many plans and ideas of the stuff that we are going to do with this brand, and it's amazing. You know, it's great to kind of finally be doing this, and to be expressing our interest to the world.
It felt really good to yap for 2 hours.
Oh God,
We've
yeah.
said yap so much, but that's because we have yapped a lot. I just feel like I'm cleansed now.
Yeah.
You know, it was a
It'll
good
do.
nerding out session. So,
But if you guys have any questions for us or topics that you'd like us to talk about, please comment them below.
thanks for joining.
I think the message is usually like, please follow, like, share,
Smash the like button.
smash the like button, subscribe. People don't subscribe anymore, do they?
Yeah.
It's all
You
about
add some like special effects where it's like exploding.
Oh, I'll pop them up.
Smash the like.
smash them up.
buttons, Yeah.
I think the popular thing nowadays is repost. I believe on the TikTok is what people do.
Yes,
Repost.
people do repost.
Share it to all of your theme park friends
Mm.
if you want. You know,
Do,
there's
but
a lot of you out there, so we appreciate you spending the time with us, and yeah, just joining us on our first little steps in this world.
Yeah.
And yeah,
we're going to have a lot more videos that are kind of a lot more up and about and active and things going on as well, aren't we?
we got a lot of ideas coming.
Yeah, but obviously it's difficult when it's off season.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's
there's a
currently
lot
off
of
season.
those.
We picked a wrong time to launch this, but
Well, ideally it could be the right time because I mean
Yeah,
that
that's
they're opening in 5-6 weeks.
build a little community from there.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
This is just us getting warmed up.
Which is
Just you wait until the parks are open. You're
Yay.
seeing too much of us, no. But I mean, realistically, because we're in Bristol,
Yeah.
so we're kind of, although we're pretty close, like to getting everywhere, we're obviously away from Alton Towers, away from Thorpe Park and Chessington and Legoland.
yeah, sure.
So I'd love to be more local to Thorpe Park, and if I was, you'd be getting videos every single day.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, as soon as we can get there, we're going to do it.
Mhm.
And we already have plans to go to all 4 of the main parks.
Yeah, we're going to do them all this year. I'd like us to do a Europe park this year.
I'd love to do that. Fantasialand. is for me.
We'd see if we can make it work, but I'd
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But big plans. Hopefully we can pull them off.
Well, I don't want to drop the mics, but yeah, thank you. Don't do it. Thank you for joining.
Actually, gonna do it.
Don't do it. Thank you for joining. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. See you later.
Bye.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?